Hello, my name is Sam Sim. I'm running to be your state representative, position 2 in Legislative District 44. My parents came here, they immigrated here in 1972 to Honolulu, Hawaii. And I moved all over the country as a child. I lived in about 10 different states all over the United States. As a result of this, I met so many people from all walks of life all over the country. And I absolutely fell in love with this country as an American. I don't have much of a political background. In fact, I come from a tech background, and I'm also a tech entrepreneur. I started 3 companies in startup mode, and I still run a software company today. I look at things from a lens of a business perspective and also as an entrepreneur. But most importantly, I felt called to run because perhaps very much like many of you, I was misinformed as a voter. I would just vote without knowing too much about the candidates. Then I realized that as I became more involved with the political scene and also became the outreach chair for Snohomish County Republican Party, that there was more to voting than I previously realized. And I quickly realized how important it was to learn about your candidates and to, most importantly, make informed decisions when you vote. So I was called to run as a result, primarily for the following reasons. Number 1, to create more balance in our state. Controlled by any one party for over decades, in fact, over 40 years, will always be risky and dangerous to any extent. And so primarily and first and foremost is to have a more balanced legislation and approach to our local government here. Secondly was education. Much like me, I was misinformed. I didn't take the time to educate and teach myself about the candidates and local policies, their voting records. And now I realize how important that is. And so as I go around our neighborhood and our local district in 44, it's been a great pleasure meeting people and my neighbors and helping them show the way, informing and educating to make informed decisions, regardless of your party. We just ask that you read on the candidates, their backgrounds, and make an informed decision. And finally, of course, representation. Not just for our ethnic communities, myself as a Korean American, but all communities and all Americans. Representation for all. And this effort is working. This past August, in the August primary elections, the most voter registration turnout and applications, as you know, the voter registration forms comes in many different languages. But Korean language was number 1 for the first time in Washington State. And so our efforts are working. We're uniting and gathering all communities. There are some fundamental issues that I myself, as well as others, many others in our community in District 44, are having to deal with and are realizing that change, a definite change, not only in our district, but also in Washington State, is needed. One of those is public safety. Right now, as it stands, Washington State is one of the worst states in the nation with the least police officers per capita. And so my mission and goal is to recruit good, qualified law enforcement and officers again. Secondly is our education. Right now, 60% of our students as a Washington State average are still failing basic math, and 50% are still failing basic reading and writing. In fact, 60,000 families in Washington State have opted out of public school for other alternative education options, such as homeschooling, charter schools, and private schools. I propose that we need to get back to merit-based education to focus on our core education and academics, reading, writing, science, math, arithmetic, etc. Because this is what's constitutional and this is what's stated in our RCWs for Washington State. Finally, our cost of living. Washington State is now number 2, the most expensive place to live in the country. Gas, groceries, and everyday expenses. So as an entrepreneur and as a business person, I propose that as opposed to additional taxation, that we must take a step back and see where the inefficiencies may be, audit what we are currently doing and on a regular basis, and then reassess and reappropriate these funds where needed to create more efficiency in these areas to the best of our ability. And as a business person and as an entrepreneur, of course, my tendency is to always think in performance-based metrics. So I also propose that as opposed to additional taxation, are there ways that we can raise funding for our necessary services? And so I propose that let's assess and take a look at the data and the metrics. We set goals accordingly, and the funding, I believe, should follow those goals and metrics when they are met. I'm an advocate for performance-based metrics and performance-based, merit-based as a whole. When people ask me, why did you decide to run with no experience? I've listed the reasons, but more importantly, I realize that there's 5 primary factors that I realize which actually align with me, and as I go around and meet with our neighborhood, align with many of our community as well, particularly in Legislative District 44. And the first one is the reduction of government or limited government oversight. Here in the United States, our founding fathers, they escaped control and persecution to start a new life for themselves. And so it is for that reason that the premise of reduced government and limited government oversight stands at the core as to why our country was created in the first place. Secondly, the reduction of taxes, or in addition to that, being good stewards of our finances. So as I mentioned, with PPPs, public-private partnerships, there are ways and creative ways that we can think out of the box to empower entrepreneurs, small businesses, to partner with public government for partnerships, to raise the necessary funding that we need for programs, as opposed to additional more and more taxation. Number 3, a strong defense. As we just shared, public safety is a big concern in our local community and here in Washington State. So I propose that we also subsidize mental health and wellness programs for new law enforcement and officers as we recruit them. Public safety, a strong defense. Number 4 is personal liberties. As we are formed as a republic, we have the right to freedom of speech and to live the life that we choose is best for our families. And that is summarized best in the First Amendment of the Constitution. Upholding the Constitution stands at the forefront and is at the very fabric of why our country has been blessed and why our country is the greatest country in the world. And it is for that Constitution that we must hold and protect our personal liberties. And then finally, belief in the individual, belief in the power of individuals to strike their own claim. If you want to start a business, let us empower you and provide the necessary resources for you to do so that we can create jobs, we can create growth, grow the economy from a top-down approach and a top-down perspective. I want to thank you all again for your support. I just want to take a minute to just say thank you so much. I appreciate all of the supporters that have rallied around our cause and our vision for the future. And I want to thank the people of Legislative District 44, my neighbors and my new friends who I've gone out and met. Thank you so much for believing in our vision. And we're going to continue this fight, and we're going to continue it on. So thank you again to everyone. God bless you, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you very much.